Okay, we're back to talk about the last of the SWOT analysis of the Swiss Army knife approach to IT and the architecture of the traditional enterprise, or the enterprise. So when we talked about the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and in the threat, the best way to summarize the threat is three F's. So functional fit, financial aspects and financial parameters, and basically what you pay, and failure. The ramifications of failure of your supplier on your enterprise. And whether that's a short-term failure, we just had a BlackBerry outage, first big one, but should highlight that, hey, if the whole world is tied to a couple of data centers and all your email messages and browsing goes through that one or two data centers, and they have a software glitch or some common function fit failure, it affects effectively the world. And how far do we want to propagate that architecture? So let's go to the three F's and sort of work through them. So functional fit. Can you get your current needs met by the Swiss Army knife? Now, of course, you do your due diligence up front, and the answer is yes. You do proper COTS product analysis techniques to the monolithic architecture, whether it's cloud-based or product-based, and some hybrid between the two. And you say, yeah, it fits my needs. Now your business changes, or you do a merger, acquisition, change your business line. Does it still fit? Are you able to get the features that you need? Another one on the feature functionality side is, just reading in the last couple of days, Google decided to discontinue a few of their consumer web-based products, and of course that means they just aren't available anymore. So if you were using those to run your business, granted you probably wouldn't use them too much to run your business, more to support them, they're gone. If a particular, you basically must move with the product offering of the Swiss Army knife provider. If you don't have a choice, because it used to be that you could go into keep your old unsupported versions of COTS products, commercial off-the-shelf products, and you just became unsupported, and you could go as long as you could, but you could drag it out for years and years and years. I believe there's still people in today, 2011, running Windows NT and running antiquated versions of DBase, and yes, you might have to check up in Wikipedia what DBase 2 and DBase 4 is, but people are still using all sorts of things. Unisys mainframes are still in existence, not the ones put together with Intel processors, but ones running their, I don't even want to say I know what it's called, version of their operating system. But you are tied to the functionality of what the vendor offers. If you need new things, hopefully they're provided in a timely manner, or they're going to show up, but you're tied to the functionality. Financial, you are locked in. Switching between vendors when there are no standards, and there is every reason for a vendor of the Swiss Army knife approach to ensure full lock-in, that you are not going anywhere, and you will pay not only the subscription fees or maintenance fees, but you will be tied to how often have you seen that the DOT releases are included in your maintenance, but there's an upgrade fee in above maintenance required for the prior to DOT releases? So if you go from 9.1 to 9.2, it's included in maintenance, but if you go from 9.8 to 10.0 or 10.1, that there's an upgrade fee that you need to budget for, and hopefully you're getting value from it. But you're tied to the financial parameters that are dictated to you by the vendor. You can't decide to just stop consuming the service when you're consuming your services from a single supplier. You must simply take the increases and pay for them, and to continue using the IT. And in a lot of cases, you've signed up for contracts that don't let you get out. You're locked in for 5-8 years, and you're not able to just make the jump. The other one is failure of your supplier. And that's whether it's the small failures or complete catastrophic failure where the business supplier, the IT supplier goes out of business. And we can talk more about the doomsday of failure, but you look at your organization, and any organization that is totally tied to another organization, and that your organization will fail if the other organization fails. That really requires you to do ongoing monitoring and due diligence. And if you're a public company doing, basically providing reports to the SEC or other organizations as part of your annual filings, that, if there's issues with your major critical supplier, that you need to disclose that because it is material to the health of your own organization. So do you want to be so tightly tied to another organization that your own company's success is tied to it? And what that means is that you no longer can take the strength of the Swiss Army knife supplier of doing a use and forget, but you can't forget that you need to always have ongoing monitoring and due diligence of the health of your supplier and the subcomponent suppliers, and make sure that they themselves are not dependent upon any individual supplier. So really what it means is that you need openness and disclosure from your supplier and their supplier chain, and that you need to provide an ongoing due diligence and manage your own destiny. It doesn't mean that you need to provide and do everything in-house, but you need to monitor and manage and control your destiny. The fundamental of the scatter architecture is, just as you would not be tied to one supplier for all of your raw materials in a manufacturing scenario, you don't get tied to all of your suppliers and your supply chain for your IT infrastructure needs. So we'll be talking about this concept of scatter architecture much, much more. But fundamentally, scatter architecture addresses the aspects of the 3 F's in the context of providing and satisfying the needs of the enterprise at the business level, the applications, data and infrastructure, information, and technology. This ends up this one. It's the longest one of our videos, but these fundamental SWOT tenets of scatter architecture comprise roughly about 30 minutes of me doing a monologue, and hopefully provide some clarity. If not, it'll intrigue you to take a further delve into what is meant about scatter architecture.